It's time to take you through this week in Nicholls Athletics as we bring you the best of Colonel sports from Nicholls State University. This week in Nicholls Athletics is presented by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance.
Good morning and welcome to This Week in Nicholls Athletics presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. The Nicholls football team has had a few weeks to reflect on the 2011 season. The Colonels, beset by injury after injury and forced to throw an already young team into the fire, certainly went through their share of tribulations. The coaches and players look back now at the season that was, and more importantly, now start to focus on 2012. Julie Bodwan has...
The 2011 Colonel football season may be over, but coaches and players are already preparing for 2012. While this past season did not meet the team's expectations, the coaches know it's all part of the bigger picture.
Well, I think there's room for growth, obviously. You know, we struggled a little bit this year as a team, but I don't think that everything can be placed solely on wins and losses. You know, we had some goals going into the season defensively. Speaking, that I think that we obtained those goals. One of the goals we had was to kind of identify ourselves. Really the first year that we were able to be a 3-4 scheme the entire year and have both the spring camp and the fall camp to implement that scheme. And I think that we reap benefits going to that scheme, and we obviously come back and look at it and say that we made the right decision to go to that scheme. I think early in the year we were playing extremely well. And then I think depth caught up with us a little bit, depth and youth, where some of our statistics, we fell down statistically. But I still think that in the large part we succeeded with the kids getting a grasp of the scheme and laying a foundation for where we want to go.
Last year was a big year for us in terms of growing the program. We were young in a lot of positions, and we started off the year with, especially on the offensive line, we started off the year with a lot of experience, and we finished with a lot of inexperience when it comes to guys and their age and how old they were playing at, but it definitely worked out for next year, so that way guys got the experience they needed.
The football season just ended, but the coaches are hard at work with recruiting the next generation of Colonels.
Now, of course, we're busy recruiting. I mean, you know, we've met as coaches and kind of assessed what we need, and of course, going through the high school recruiting also. And again, we're really working hard in the Louisiana area, you know, with the high school recruiting, trying to get more kids in. And we have a lot on our team like that. We have 84 young men returning right now. And so we had a young team and, you know, very few seniors. But again, I know another recruiting class is very key.
The team is relatively young with only a handful of seniors, and the defense is losing a key player on and off the field.
But Bobby Felder, I make the statement right now when I talk to some NFL teams that call me and talk a little bit about Bobby, want to know about his background. You know, I make this comment: if my daughter was old enough, I would allow Bobby to date her. I mean, he's just a wonderful young man. And I think that goes beyond what he does in terms of his performance on the field. You know, one of the goals for Coach Stubbs and this whole staff is, you know, he makes a statement: we want to recruit a team and make a team full of character, not a team full of characters. And I think guys like Bobby Felder are exactly what we are striving for, and those are hard to find. You know, there's a lot of great players out there, but can you find those players that are also great people? That's tough. I think what you lose in losing guys like Bobby Felder, you lose great people. You lose guys that are great in the locker room, that are great in front of the media, they're great in the community, and they're academically great. I mean, Bobby's going to graduate. He goes from almost failing out his first semester to graduating a semester early. That's pretty impressive to me. So losing guys like that, that's going to be hard to replace. But those young guys that we have coming up have got to be around him and see how to do it the right way. You know, the one thing that I think people need to understand, we have three guys, and Bobby could be the fourth guy in the NFL over the past 5 years, I think is what it is. All of them received their degree a semester early. So I think there's something to be said for being a student athlete and putting the student first.
While losing Bobby Felder is a significant change for the defense, the offense has made a major change of its own.
One thing that I've already done is, LaQuentin Caston, I'm going to move him to receiver, and he understands that. And the reason for that is he is a good player, but again, he was given an opportunity at quarterback, and again, some things just didn't come natural to him. He will also be used next year as a wildcat quarterback, which means, you know, doing some different things in the running game. But again, he's very receptive and anything to help the team.
It's going to be a transition, but it isn't too much of a transition or a big major change, you know, because most of the wide receivers and the quarterbacks do more of the same drills and they work together all the time. So it'll just probably it'll enable me to make more plays for the team instead of the quarterback position, but now the receiver position.
Next season, the Colonels should have more of a balanced offense with quarterback changeup and running back Jesse Turner back at 100% after his injury.
I mean, it's going to be harder on defense to try to stop us now since Jesse's back healthy. Then we're probably going to have more of a throwing quarterback. So it's going to open up to our power and speed. So if I'm not doing as well in the game, you're going to have Jesse with our speed. He's going to bring it. If the speed's not working with him, you're going to go in and bring with the power.
This past season was a tough lesson for the Colonels, but they're going in the right direction to make the future bright for Nicholls football.
Unfortunately, in this business, everything's based off wins and losses. We all know that. We want to graduate our student athletes, and we want to do these good things. We want to do, but you'll never hear of anybody winning a national championship getting fired because their graduation rate's lower. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, and it should. At some point in time, you've got to hold those coaches accountable for recruiting these players in there. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. The program's going in the right direction. Coach Stubbs has put together a game plan. We know which direction we want to go. We know what direction we want to go in recruiting. We know what direction we're going in terms of discipline and what we're putting to the forefront. That's important to us, and that's one, make these student athletes be students first. So we're not going to deviate from what we do. We're just going to get better and improve the things that we want to do and eliminate the mistakes.
You can follow all the latest news and recruiting information at GoColonels.com. For This Week in Nicholls Athletics, I'm Julie Baudouin.
Thanks a lot, Julie. Nicholls is proud once again to play host to the annual Bayou River Showdown. The high school football all-star game pits the best of the Bayou region, Lafourche, Assumption, and Terrebonne parishes against the class of the River Region parishes, St. Charles, St. James, and St. John. Many Colonel football players, past and present, have taken part in this showcase event, including running back Joshua Johnson, who was selected as last year's Bayou Region MVP after rushing for 109 yards and a touchdown. This year's game is set for this coming Friday, December 16th. The Guidry Stadium gates open at 6 p.m. Kickoff is slated for 7 o'clock. Tickets are available at Guidry Stadium on game day, and proceeds benefit the Thibodaux Lions Club. Well, next on This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance, we'll hear from a group of Colonel supporters who aren't just excited about the program's future, but are helping to shape it. Stay with us.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Thibodaux, call Doug Robichaux. And in Luling, call Keith Davis.
Get to a better state.
Well, there's no hiding the fact that money is key to any successful athletic department. Nicholls and its Southland Conference partners don't enjoy the benefits of billion-dollar television contracts and million-dollar bowl payouts. But the Colonels do have a special group of people who roll up their sleeves to make sure the student athletes here have a positive experience. While our student athletes fight hard for every victory on the field of competition, the Colonel Athletic Association is fighting hard to raise every dollar they can. Angela Boudreau has more.
The hype and buzz of a university can come from winning teams and top-of-the-line facilities. However, what most do not realize is the hard work and dedication it takes from a certain group to raise the needed funds to make it all possible. Here at Nicholls, the Colonel Athletic Association, formerly known as Colonel Club, has taken on this thankless task. Under the leadership of former Colonel basketball player Brandon Retley, the CAA has raised a record amount of money and achieved an all-time high in membership over the last 2 years.
You know, we've kind of, going to different parts of the tri-parish area. We hit a new person every time, and that new person brings somebody else in, or you know, we're able to maybe rekindle a relationship that, you know, maybe just fizzled out back in the day. So by us going out, we're able to attract new members, bring in old ones that maybe we lost along the way. But we have a positive message out there, and really we want our athletic programs to have every single tool they need to be successful. Facilities, you know, everything from stuff as small as having, you know, new uniforms every couple of years. We fund all that.
While the volunteer CAA Board of Directors consists of well-connected and respected people in the community, one thing that makes this program successful is that it includes former Nicholls student athletes. These members have had the chance to be on both sides of the spectrum, which permits them to see the bigger picture.
We're selling to you know, better the to better the experience here at Nicholls. We want the student athlete to have the best possible experience here. So their money going directly to the teams, the coaches are able to do so much more. You know, and with our budget constraints here again, and I think every university across the state is feeling the pinch. The money that these Colonel Athletic Association members are donating, it goes a long way, and it's much needed. I mean, even recruiting, you know, something we take for granted, to recruit a new member to the track team, we got to go out and visit them. So, you know, a lot of those budgets are small, so the money that goes into those accounts gets used for that.
I want it to be easier for the coaches to be able to just go out and concentrate on coaching. They shouldn't have to go around raising funds, worrying about how they're going to support their recruiting trips, how they're going to put, you know, sweats and equipment and new items on their list. I would like to be able to take all those worries away from them and let them just concentrate on coaching, because that's what they're here for.
CAA board member Mitch Thompson holds a special place in his heart for Colonel's baseball. He has been involved with the program since the early 90s and has seen firsthand the transformation of Didier Field.
We had wooden bleachers. We would tailgate underneath the pine trees across the street. I mean, we had absolutely nothing. We had no warning track, and this over the years we've raised money, and as the team gets better and better, as you know, people will give more to the program. And now the place is a first-class operation. We're just putting up these new bleachers that we got given to us by UNO, who gave us 2 complete sets of chair-back bleachers. That's being put up free of charge. We're getting ready to build our new party deck on the back, and we have a cooking shelter now with a barbecue pit with electricity. It's very nice back there now. I would talk to some of these recruits and their fathers, you know, after the fact, and they would just tell us that, you know, our son was being recruited by 2 other schools in the conference, and you go look at their facilities, and then you come here, they said, my son don't want to come play here because he had nothing. You know, now they want to come here and play. It's different.
Current CAA President Jeremy Becker says he's pleased with the increase in donations and memberships and realizes that the health of Nicholls Athletics is tied to that of the overall university and vice versa.
I think the improvements to the campus have been tremendous since I was a student here, and knowing some of the plans that Brandon and Rob have talked about and Dr. Halbert has talked about, I see nothing but bigger and better things for Nicholls State, not only athletics, but the campus in general. And everything feeds off of everything else. When the university side is improving, athletics has the opportunity to improve, and with athletics is improving, you know, that's the more community support, the more support from outside the region that we even get, and it gives the opportunity for the university to improve as well.
The hard and persistent work of the CAA members seems to be paying off as their long-term plans are now taking shape. The women's basketball team awaits the full completion of their new locker room, and John L. Guidry Stadium is scheduled to have a complete overhaul to the front of the building. Meanwhile, the long-awaited construction of a field house at the soccer complex will soon get underway. These are just some of the many projects Rutley and the CAA are continuously working on. For This Week in Nicholls Athletics, I'm Angela Boudreau.
Thanks, Angela. Folks, to join the Colonel Athletic Association or for more information, call 985-493-2517 or log on to GoColonels.com. That's G-E-A-U-X, GoColonels.com. Coming up on This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance, we'll check in on Colonel's hoops, including an interview with a promising local star. Stay with us.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Lockport, call Ashley Barrios. And in Homa, call Travis Gravois.
Get to a better state.
Welcome back to This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance. Last weekend, the Colonel women's basketball team hit the road to face former Southland Conference rival Louisiana Monroe at Fan-Hewing Coliseum. Nicholls charged out of the gate, hitting 4 of their first 5 field goals, en route to a 13-2 lead. Let's take a look at those highlights. ULM's Elizabeth Torres misses a 3 to Colonel's Jenny Nash, clearing the board and handing it off to Summer Leslie. She dribbles down and pulls up at the top of the key for the 3. The Colonels were up 13-2. Leslie with the drive here and the kick to Alicia Allen. Nice pump fake and a mid-range jumper. Allen with a game-high 24 points, 8 minutes in. Nicholls up a dozen, but ULM chips away. Cards with the coast-to-coast layup, plus the foul on Jasmine Hoskins. The Warhawks within 2 with 6 minutes left in the half. Leslie waiting for someone to pop out here. It's Allen. She connects for the 3, and the Nicholls advantage is 24-19. Ari Williams with a big night for ULM, a team-high 21 points and 6 rebounds. The set shot there from the short corner to cut the Colonel lead to 3. Warhawks come all the way back. Torres saves him in the corner. ULM works it to Jasmine Shaw from beyond the arc. We're tied at 24. Final minute of the first half, Allen races into the forecourt and slithers her way to the basket for the layup. But Nicholls went into the break trailing 35-28. Warhawks would build on their advantage early in the second half. ULM escaped some ball pressure there. The lay-in for Shaw. She had an 18-point effort. Colonel's down 11. Nicholls makes a run. KK Babin up top, dishing to Portia Washington. Right back to KK for the bonus ball. Colonel's down 6 with 11 minutes left. Leslie on the wing, chucks to Babin, back to Leslie. And the elbow jumper brings the Colonels within 4 with 7:25 remaining. But Torres penetrates here and hands back to Williams for the 13-footer as ULM builds up a double-digit advantage. Colonels are back within 2 possessions as Babin connects from long distance, but ULM holds off the rally and wins by a final of 78-68 last weekend. Well, right now we're joined on the show here by Colonel point guard Shane Rillieux, a freshman out of Brother Martin High School in New Orleans. It's good to have you here on the program. You're getting a whole lot of experience right now, just 6 or 7 games into your collegiate career. How have you handled it all so far?
Oh, man, it's a lot to take in, but it's easy because of my teammates. They helped me to push through, and Coach, he also has been giving me very good advice on how to take everything in.
You're a Brother Martin product out of New Orleans. Brother Martin, a terrific program historically, and you were able to be a part of a state championship team there. How has that winning attitude and that winning experience helped you so far here at Nicholls?
Oh, man, it was easy. Coming from my background and the way Coach Thompson, well, my former coach, had coached us, it was same intensity. I mean, it was to keep the intensity up, keep your effort up, keep your toughness up. Same thing what Coach Piper has been teaching us so far.
Now, this is a very young team right now. Generally in the starting lineup, 1 senior, and that's Ben Martin, and he's out right now. But usually you go 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores. Has it been a better experience knowing you guys are going to grow together?
Oh, of course. I think it's a great opportunity for us because we have a chance to build our chemistry up, and it's going to keep going for the next couple of years. And that's also going to help us to win a lot of games and hopefully get to the NCAA championship.
Coming into this season, there was really a fight for the point guard position, but it looked like Pedro Maciel, a junior college transfer, had the edge coming in simply because of his previous experience. Pedro went out with a knee injury. We're not sure if he's going to come back, so you take over, and you've done very well for yourself so far. What has that experience been like, being thrown right into the fire? I guess you probably didn't know coming in you were going to be the starting point guard. How quickly did you have to adapt?
I had to adapt quickly. Coach told me that it's a very hard job, but he told me that I was capable, and my teammates, they have been helping me, getting me through practices, giving me advice on what I should do, what I should not do, and Coach has been doing the same. It's actually easy because actually Pedro, he's been helping too, knowing that he's been hurt. But yeah.
I've noticed that with this team as well. Guys are fighting for spots right now because everybody's so young. Just about every spot on the floor is up for grabs. Yet what I'm seeing from this team throughout this early portion of the season, everybody's helping each other, whether they're starting, whether they're coming off the bench. Why do you think that chemistry has been so tight so far?
Because I think we all are playing for one goal. That's to win games and make it to the NCAA conference and the NCAA and the conference games. But that's our chemistry is very high, and hopefully that we can keep it up.
What do you think you bring to the table as the point guard and just as a player?
I try to be more of a leader. I try to play as a senior, but I'm not, obviously. But that's really my job on the team, to be more of a leader and keep guys motivated.
What's been the difference so far for you coming from a high level of high school basketball in the state of Louisiana to the Division I level at college now? What's been the biggest, I guess, jump that you've had to make?
Guys in college are much quicker. Everything's fast-paced. You got to worry about all the details. If you lose your focus on closeouts, blockouts, guys will take advantage of that.
The thing with this team coming in this season, you probably know a little bit of history. Anatoly Bose had been the star of this team the last few years, scored in the mid-20s every game, was in the top 10 in the nation. The Colonels don't have that 20 to 25-point threat anymore, but what you do have is a lot of 10 to 15-point threats, and it all adds up in the end. Where do you see yourself fitting in offensively right now?
My main focus is to get guys involved. I don't really worry about, really stats or anything by me, but I just try to get guys involved, build their confidence up, and when their confidence is high, give us a better chance to win games.
Now, we've seen you dish the ball, and you're leading the team in assists this year. You're also leading the team in minutes per game. But what you have been able to average is about 7-8 points a game. And what we notice in the folks seeing the highlights on TV as well, you find a way to get to the basket. You have an uncanny ability to do that. What kind of skills do you think have led you to be able to do it with such a great ability?
It's just over the season working hard, lifting weights, doing sprints, wind sprints, running a mile, little things like that.
Well, the Colonels right now off to a sluggish start again because of a lot of injuries. You're missing several starters, have a young team as well. How long do you project you think it's going to take this team to get where you want it to be?
I think we can get it to where we want to be in a couple of weeks, before conference. But if we keep working hard in practice and keeping our intensity up and our toughness and playing with a lot of effort, I think we can do it quick.
Coach Piper has told me, and he's told others as well, I don't want to overwhelm this team with a lot of new things every game because they're young and they're still learning the fundamentals of how to play at the Division I level. What's been the latest round of challenges that he's thrown your way?
Oh, man, he's thrown a lot of challenges, but it's late in the game where we're tired, we're fatigued. Can we keep the same intensity as we did in the beginning of the game where we were close? But that's why I think he's made practice a lot tougher lately, because I know that he can get it out of us.
Well, you grew up about 90 miles away, South Louisiana product. What drew you to Nicholls?
I just really like the type of basketball Coach Piper had, and I think it's really my type of style. I came from the same. It's not the same, but somewhat the same. So I think that's what really drew me here.
Well, the Colonels right now, again, will take on Dillard coming up next Friday, and then North Carolina is on the schedule as well. This is a tough slate that you guys have had here in the early season. Texas has been on the docket. You faced LSU. You faced Tulane. Do you think that's a benefit for a young team to be thrown into the fire like that? Is it going to have you ready to go come conference time?
Yeah, of course. It's going to get us to where we need to get. It's a little competitive, but you always need to get pushed. So I think Coach is doing a good job.
What I noticed in the season opening game against LSU, a lot of guys stepping on the court for the first time in an NCAA environment. 6,000 or 7,000 people there. Nobody on the team really seemed jittery or nervous. It was the same thing at Auburn. Forgot to mention them; they were on the schedule as well. How are you able to go out there with so much confidence, being so young?
Wow, that's I think it's just that we rely on our teammates, and we know that we have one another's back, and we're not really worried about the crowd or worried about the other team. We're just worried about ourselves.
Shane, wish you the best of luck. You've done a great job so far. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Shane Rillieux, freshman point guard. He's going to be one to watch over the next few years for the Colonels. Want to remind you folks as we wrap up our show, don't forget the women's basketball team hosts Bellhaven on Tuesday, and the men's team is at home to take on Dillard on Friday. Both games tip off at 6:30. You can reserve your tickets by calling 985-448-4790 or by logging on to Ticketmaster.com. Again, that number 985-448-4790 or log on to Ticketmaster.com. And for all the latest in Colonel sports, be sure to check out our official website, www.GoColonels.com. That's GEAUX, GoColonels.com. You've been watching This Week in Nicholls Athletics, presented by State Farm Insurance. For Angela Boudreau and Julie Baudouin, I'm Mike Wagenheim. Have a great weekend.
Today's show has been brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.